Hey, Mike Phillips here, another live broadcast in the Dr. Beasley's OR here in sunny Stuart, Florida. And I have a very special guest with me today, Eric Robinson of Reflectionz by Eric Detailing. And what we're going to do with this episode, instead of showing you how to work on a car, we're actually going to tackle the topic of what is it like to start up your own detailing business, whether it's mobile or in a fixed location. And I just thought I'd bring in someone that I have a lot of respect for, that's been very successful, has branched out into a lot of different things that they offer in their business. And I've got a series of questions here. And if you're following along, of course, you can add your questions down in the comments below. And when we get towards the end of this video, we will read your questions out loud and one of us will answer the questions. So, well, first of all, thank you so much for being here, buddy.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I know you're a busy guy, so we're asking you to stop work and come on down here to the OR.
Anytime.
So I think one of the reasons I wanted to do this is because, as we talked about, when you look at a business, if someone decides, I'm not really the kind of person that wants to take orders and work for another company, I want to start my own business. There's a lot of different opportunities you can go into.
Okay.
I would use the example like a franchise for Kentucky Fried Chicken, or a pizza part, or sandwich shop. There's just a lot of opportunities out there, but a lot of us take a lot of large contributions of money up front to get them started and get them off the ground. Where in the detailing world, at least at this point, because there's so little rules and regulations, I mean, virtually a guy can get a wash bucket and a wash mitt and he's in business.
That's the truth.
Now, we know how scary those guys can be.
Oh, yeah.
They create a lot of work for us. But,
oh, yeah, to keep us going.
But that's how simple it is to get started. And, a long time ago, one of my friends, he shared he said something that was funny. And the reason it was funny is because it was true. He said, Mike, when a guy loses his job, the next day he's either in lawn care or detailing.
Yeah.
And I thought, he's got a lawnmower, or he's got a wash bucket and a buffer. So with the detailing industry, it's always going to be a lot less expensive to start out mobile because you've got no fixed overhead. You don't got electric bill, utilities, shop lease, insurance.
Yep.
But at the same time, and I know you've experienced this, you spend a lot of time on the road. I had a lot of friends that were mobile detailers out in California, in the Los Angeles area, and their biggest complaint was the traffic. You think, well, I'm going to go do a job that's 5 hours, but you spend 2 hours getting there and 2 hours getting out of there. So there's always the downside of being mobile, whereas a fixed location, if the customers bring you the car, then you're not on the road, obviously. Yeah. So before we get started, anything you just want to say overall about, what you think of the detailing industry, where we're at right now in it?
The detailing industry is amazing. I love it. There's, ups and downs in everything you do. So the whole community in general, you got a lot of people that help you out, and then you got a lot of people that, kind of stay with your mouth shut. But it's a good industry. It's fun. You get to a lot of networking. So I enjoy it.
So, and when he says it's fun if you're a hands-on person, you like to work on cars, because I know people that the only thing they want to do is push the button. Okay? They want someone like us to do everything for them. So when he says fun, I agree, it's fun. I really like working on cool stuff. I coined a term years ago called SIV, Special Interest Vehicle. So this Corvette over here, I would consider this a SIV. The Starsky and Hutch car over here, I would consider this a SIV. And my definition of a SIV, because I try to open it up and keep it kind of broad, is if you are walking into a store, so you parked your car in a parking lot, you're walking into the store and you turn your head twice to look at a car, that's whatever it is. It might be a brand new, Maserati, it might be a Model T, but whatever it is, if you look twice, that's something that attracted you. So that's why I would call it SIV, a special interest car. I never really get excited to work on this, and I like to pick on a 2014 Honda 4-door Accord in beige metallic. Okay, it's an important part of the business model, doing daily drivers, or what we call grocery getters. But there's just no passion and excitement to buff out a Toyota Camry. Nothing, no offense, all you Toyota Camrys. It's a great car. And you can get them in some pretty good colors nowadays too.
Oh yeah, I got some nice colors now.
Okay, well, tell you what, to get started here, I've kind of just written down some questions, and let's just kind of go through them. So why or how did you first get started into detailing? I think you shared maybe your dad was into it.
Yeah. So I grew up with my dad. He was very picky with all the vehicles, big car guy, cars, motorcycles, boats, all that stuff. So I kind of grew up with it. Grew up with him telling me, "Oh, don't touch that, don't touch this. Keep your hands." So it worked out. So all in all, I kind of fell into it in a sense, you know. So how he was with me, I turned out worse than him. So like I said, I see way more than him now. I kind of just fell into it, really.
So you're a lot more OCD than he ever was.
Yeah. I see stuff. I point stuff out to him nowadays.
So you got the disease.
Oh yeah, a little worse than that.
Yeah. What age would you say that you started gravitating into? Maybe like I started out detailing mom and dad's cars. I'm sure a lot of detailers started out that way, or your own car. But what age do you think it was when you started to go, you know, this is kind of the direction I want to go, and you started looking at this as a business and doing it for, you know, clients?
Okay, so it was a little bit later. I worked at car washes growing up, all that stuff. I worked for a mobile guy doing some mobile work. But I would say probably it was late for me, probably late 20s, maybe mid 20s, 25, you know. So it started late to actually say like, okay, actually, you know, I'm actually really good at this, so I can make something out of it.
Yeah.
You know, so I started doing it part-time from there.
Gotcha. And in context, late 20s is be young to me.
Yeah. I feel old now, so.
I don't mean to interject, but what did you do before detailing?
Before detailing, actually, my dad owns a tree business, so I ran his tree trimming company, and I absolutely hated it.
Lawn care.
Yeah, it is, right?
Lawn care. Either lawn care or your detailer.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I always like to ask this question, but you know, out of all the cars you've detailed, and I'm sure it's a really wide spectrum, is there any one that really stands out there like, God, I finally got to work on my dream car, or something that's rare, one of one, that kind of thing?
Yeah, we've done a couple of one-of-one cars. You know, the F88 we did last year, we spoke about briefly. Some one-off Ferraris before, but I'm leaning towards some of the antiques because I'm still learning the antiques myself, you know, the history behind them. So that's kind of what's grabbing my attention. You know, I grew up in the modern age, so I grew up with all the modern vehicles, and still now. So to me, that stuff, you know, LaFerraris, love them, you know, great looking vehicles, beautiful piece of art.
Yeah.
But I'm leaning towards the antiques.
The classics, street rods, muscle cars?
Muscle cars, even pre-war, stuff like that. You know, if you look back at some of those vehicles and the detail they had into them and stuff they came up with, that long ago.
And I'm just the opposite. I do not like working on things like the Durants or the vintage Cadillacs. They're big, they're ornate, they're complicated. A lot of times they got gold leaf pinstriping, a lot of metal polishing work. They're just complicated. I mean, it's great to consider it a challenge, but I always joke my favorite car to buff out is like a 69 Chevelle. And if you think about it, it's just big,
it's just flat,
big flat panels, kind of gentle curve, no plastic trim, chrome. You run the buffer over the chrome. So, but that's kind of cool. I think if I had to choose one, it'd be the Batmobile, the 1966 Batmobile. Yeah. There's one out in California. I think I've detailed it 3 times. And the guy that owns it's an incredibly talented guy. He built it from scratch. He got the molds pulled off the original molds that Chuck Barris made from a guy that owns them in Canada, and he built everything else, but the guy cannot touch paint to save his life. I might as well just give him a SOS Brillo pad and tell him to wash his car because the results are going to be the same. What would you say is the most difficult hurdle you had to overcome when you're starting either your mobile or your fixed location?
So the most difficult part is basically the initial startup. And when I say that is people questioning you, doubting you in a sense, like, hey, you know, are you sure you're going to wash cars? You know, but they don't see what I see. So I'm looking at the bigger picture. They see it as a car wash guy, right? So it's a lot of doubt, a lot of, you know, just negative attitude towards it. But once you overcome that, you know, you're good to go for the most part. If you see it, run with it, you know. Other than that, another difficult hurdle is growth. You know, what's the next step? You know, you go from mobile to this to that to, you know, what's your next step and how do you make that step?
I think even today, if someone says, what do you do for a living? And I say, well, I detail cars. Sometimes I feel like, oh, that's all I do. I just detail cars, but I work on some pretty cool cars. But I do a lot more than that. Like I'm more into the content creation and that kind of thing, which, you know, takes some real talent to do. But
let me know when you have some.
But detailing cars, you know, it's one of those things where for a lot of people, it's not a must-have, it's a want-to-have. You know, they don't want to detail their car. They want someone that knows what they're doing. And I'm sure you've run into a lot of people that have tried the cheap guy, and then they come find you. And you got to do someone's work over. So once somebody finds somebody that knows what they're doing, they usually tend to stick with them. And anytime they go away, they usually end up regretting it. So it's a valuable surface to be able to take somebody's car in neglected condition and restore it back to better than factory new condition and earn that customer's trust. trust.
Of course.
And it's a talent, it's a skill. And I always tell people, it's not a grinding process, like step 1, step 2. We bring the human elements of care and passion. Like, I'm sure that you're like me, you mentally kind of adopt the car as your own and you treat it like it's your own.
Of course.
And then the results always come out fabulous versus, a lot of people that get a job, say, at a detail shop or in a car wash lot, that kind of thing. They're just there to pick a check up,
Exactly.
And they just really don't care what they're doing. They drop the mitt and wash the car and scratch up. They don't care.
Yep.
It's a weekly paycheck to them. Okay, pricing and competition. So one of my friends, he's up in Fort Pierce. He called me up the other day ago and he says, Mike, I've been having a hard time staying busy detailing cars. And he says, in the last year, there's been 32 new detailing businesses that have started up within 20 miles of me.
Sounds about right.
And again, remember we went through COVID.
Yes.
A lot of people transitioned out of their job and then they started a detailing business. So there's a lot of competition, and that just makes it, you gotta work harder to promote your business, and then you got to compete with the low end guys, and hopefully you're in the high end, But how have you had to deal with that, or what have you seen the changes since COVID?
Since COVID, I mean, well, some people they were spending money back then, so pricing was never really an issue for me. You got a quality job, and there's a market for everybody. If you want to do a $20 car wash, there's plenty of people that would love to have you do a $20 car wash. If you're doing a $150 car wash, there's plenty of people for that. So it's just, I learned to stay in my lane. I'm not the most expensive, and I'm not the cheapest. But I do the quality work. So the pricing and competition, I don't really look at everybody as competition, really. I don't see, I do my stuff. If I'm too focused on competition, then I'm not going nowhere myself.
But and in the big picture, and this is where in the greater car detailing community, a lot of times you'll see guys that are real mature and they'll point out, hey, there's a lot of cars out there. You don't have to worry about not having enough cars. The real thing starts with just doing a good job first and building up a good reputation,
Yes.
get that word of mouth going for you. And then the other thing I wanted to point out was that during COVID, and this is just a few years ago, it seems like it's forever ago, but a whole new industry started up, and that was sanitizing cars.
Yes.
Everybody's worried about the germs. You trade a car in, you don't want to touch the steering wheel.
Oh, yeah.
So that started a whole new, it just really grew, I think, the interior side that maybe a lot of guys weren't paying attention to, and now that's part of their business model.
Yep.
So I'm looking behind me, and I see this really cool looking van. It's very eye-catching. So when you first started out, did you have a van like this? Because I've used personal cars. Like one time I had a 1966 Chevy milk truck, and that was a pretty cool. Street Rob is also my detailing van. What was your first car when you started out mobile?
My first car, I had a pickup truck. I'd go to people's homes, had a pickup truck, just like you said in the beginning. A bucket,
Hold
sun, hose, I'm using their water. So I had to start somewhere, right? But I was still very picky back then, as I am now. But so I had a pickup truck. In the beginning, I started out a lot of car collections, little guys, a couple cars, 3, 4, 5 cars, and they had me take care of their vehicles. So I didn't have a fixed location at the time. I just started out the back of my truck, show up there, my polisher, everything I need, wash the car, pull it inside, and do it.
Keep it in like bins, sealed bins.
Oh yeah. No, so I'm an organized person, so everything was always organized. I had it all in the plastic bins, microfibers covered up in the bins, and it was out the back of the truck. But if you open the back of my truck, you'd be surprised. Yeah.
One of the things I've had 3 fixed locations, and I always do mobile. But one of the things at some point in my life I notice is you'll get some customers that it doesn't matter if you got a shop, they're just not going to put their car on the road. You have to go to them. Maybe they don't want rock chips. Maybe I did a Ferrari Testarossa, 250 Testarossa. Yeah. I mean, the last one that sold was like $30 million. They don't want to drive that to the shop and have some Honda hit it. Now how are you going to fix that? So you have to be mobile for some clients.
Yes, of course.
And I actually remember one time my daily driver was a 1974 Datsun 260Z. And I mostly do paint correction, so it's a hatchback. You lift it up, you can throw your towels, a bucket, a polisher, extension cords, and it didn't take a van. I could do everything I needed out of a small hatchback sports car.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this is great marketing because every time I see you drive around, my eyes just go to it. And I know a lot of people do too. Would you say that you get a lot of people that call you when they see your van? They're sitting at the light going, oh yeah, I wanted to get the car detailed, and they write your phone number down and call you?
I definitely get a lot of calls on the road. Even before the van, I had my truck. Then I went to a trailer. Got my trailer, so I have a big lifted truck and a big trailer behind it. That was a rolling billboard itself. So definitely with the vans, trailers, huge marketing.
Yeah. How do you have just this van, or do you have more than one?
I have 2 vans, and I just sold my trailer, and we'll be replacing that with another van shortly.
Another van?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so the thing about, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I never had a trailer. I always just had a rig. But as soon as you get a van, now sometimes you got to back into things. You got to haul it somewhere. You're always connected. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it could just get kind of tight depending on the residential area you're in.
Yes.
You know, so.
Yeah, no, the van's the way to go. The trailer it's big, gets in the way sometimes. Unless you're doing big old commercial accounts and fleet vehicles and stuff like that.
Something I never want to do.
Yeah, no, it's not that fun.
Yeah.
It still pays, but it's not that fun.
Yeah, it's not that fun. Okay, well, that's a great answer. And if you could, what does a wrap like this cost? Just give the audience like a general idea if they've never called and got an estimate.
I mean, the wrap prices are everywhere. You got guys, cheap prices trying to get some work, but let's say, something like this, I would say anywhere around $4,000 or so, depending on the artwork. If you're doing a full wrap, half wrap, it really depends on the extent you're going.
How many years have you been getting out of a good wrap?
I mean, this one, we just rewrapped this about a year ago, a year and a half ago, but I'd say, I mean, to be honest, I haven't kept them long on my personal vans.
Yeah.
Customers' vehicles, definitely, 2 years, 3 years, easy.
Sure.
As long as, everything, it's only as good as you take care of it.
Yeah.
If you wrap your vehicle and you just sit it outside, you never wash it, it just gets baked in the sun and beat up, it's not going to last.
In South Florida here, nothing lasts very long.
If you take care of it, it'll last.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. So you have an awesome shop. It's just right down the road from our shop.
Yes, sir.
What was it like getting into that shop? I mean, when we located this shop, I mean, because of COVID, there have been so many people moving out of other states to Florida, and not only did housing and rentals become less available, but commercial real estate is hard to find around here.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's very hard. So the shop that I have now, we didn't start there. We had, actually right around the corner here, we had a one-bay shop over off of Phillips there. So it was a one-bay, one-car shop. And it was actually my buddy's shop at the time. He was doing some audio work. That was before I had the mobile set up.
Is that the UPS driver?
Yes. Yep, that's him. Yes, sir. So
he's a good guy.
Oh, yeah, he's all right. He's all right. So before I had any of the mobile setups, any of the trailer, the van, anything like that, I really started, I wasn't the car wash guy or the detailer. I was more of paint correction. I was getting into polish, and I was big on the polisher. So I would rent that shop out from him per car. So I get a car coming in, he'd let me bring it in and do a correction, polish, or ceramic coat, whatever I had to do. I would, do per vehicle. And then it came to a time where, all right, I'm starting to use a lot of the shop now. So we split the shop.
Yeah.
It was a small shop, but you got to start somewhere. It got me going into the shop I'm in now. Now we got, definitely a bigger shop, a lot more upgraded, everything from the lighting, everything we have.
Yeah.
And we're still looking to grow, actually.
Yeah.
We're looking for a bigger one now.
And kind of one of the primary differences between being mobile and then having a fixed location or a brick and mortar store is every month you've got your monthlies.
Yes.
Lease, electric, internet, like here. Water, I think, is free here. Water is free for you, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we have a contract with a local water company to get DI water.
Oh, DI water.
Yeah, we fill up all our vans with spot-free DI water, and then,
So you have these fixed costs every single month.
Yes.
As a mobile detailer. So here's what that actually means when you apply it. If you're mobile, you can be kind of picky. Someone says, "Hey, you want to do this car?" You're like, not really. But as soon as you get a fixed location, it's like, usually you'll take anything that calls.
Oh, yeah.
Because you've got to do a certain amount of volume every single month just to pay. So if you're thinking about getting into a shop, that's one of the differences between being mobile and having a fixed location, is that as soon as you get fixed location, you've got to generate a certain amount of income every single month just to cover your basic costs.
Yeah, of course, it's that overhead.
You got to hustle, and then you start taking anything that calls. Hey, I've got a Chrysler Town and Country van. It really needs the interior done. Will you do it?
Oh yeah, bring it in.
Bring it on.
Goldfish and all.
Yeah. So that's just one of the differences you got to think about. Okay. What kind of volume do you do with the mobile business?
So we're still busy with mobile. Our mobile service actually is a little bit more right now than our in-shop services. We're about 60% mobile. So we have a lot of steady weekly, bi-weekly customers, contracts, stuff like that. So we're about 60% mobile.
Do you do a lot of maintenance washes for established customers?
Yes.
Okay. Can I ask you what you charge for that?
So our maintenance package starts at $100.
$100.
Wash,
okay.
Vacuum, window, wipe down interior.
Yeah.
Details, brand
But
exterior.
a quality job.
Oh yeah, of course. Our regular wash is somebody would call it a detail.
Yeah. Yeah, so I know that a lot of detailers, when they start out, besides doing the initial detail, a lot of customers, I always make the joke that all people know how to do nowadays is, push the button, start the car. They don't know anything. They don't know anything about the paint, tires, all that plastic trim. And they just don't want to do it if they can find someone that can do it for them. And the thing that has to take place to most cars most of the time is it has to get washed. You detail it once in a while, but it has to get washed a lot. And again, here in Florida, I mean, you can set your wristwatch, your clock, by how often it rains. At 3 o'clock every day, it rains. You know? And so if you're driving on the road, then you get splatter all over everything. And there's always such a risk with taking your car to any kind of car wash. I mean, some people say, well, I take my car to a hand wash. Well, with your hand wash, that's one thing, because you're going to inspect your wash mitts and everything's going to be in order. But when you go to a commercial, a retail car wash, you don't know if that wash mitt has been dropped on the ground 100 times, if the bucket's full of grime and dirt, and now they're washing your black Lexus. You know, you get what you pay for in this world. So I've always told mobile or detailers getting into business that it's a real nice thing to offer your established customers to do a maintenance wash, because that way you can take care of your hard work. You can monitor if anything's going south on it. You know, maybe you picked up something off the road, a stain or something, and you can correct it and stay on top of it, versus when they're just on their own, you know, you'll see them in another year and it needs a full detail again. So being able to offer a maintenance wash, and then just the pricing. Like I've always told people, you need to be right around that $100. I've known some guys that charge $75, but maybe they're not at the level you're at. And I'm sure there's other guys out there that charge even more than that.
For sure.
For high-end luxury cars, show up at someone's shop, do all their cars at once.
Yes, sir.
So, but yeah, that's an important part of it. Okay, and so then, what's the level of work that you're doing in the shop? Now you do both PPF and you do window tinting too?
Yes. Yep.
So those are things you can add on to your business. So if maybe paint correction's slow, you got other things to bring income in.
Of course, yeah. So we pretty much do it all. I need from vinyl wraps, window tint, paint protection film, ceramic coatings, pretty much concourse details. Do a lot of big concourse shows. So we pretty much.
So a lot of car shows here in Florida.
Oh, there sure is.
Okay, so and just what's the volume like that? Like you know, 1 car a week to 10 cars a week?
It's we're in a little bit of a slow season right now, but I mean, when we're talking PPF, we could definitely do a few cars a week. You know, 3, 4, 5 cars a week. But then we get to under a slow season, maybe 1 or 2. I'm still I guess down here when it comes to the PPF, not my quality, but my name isn't up there really. You know, with PPF, we just started that over the past couple of years.
There's a couple big names around here.
Yes.
And you know, I get people that ask me all the time, hey, who can put a clear bra on my car? In the future, I'll start sending them to you.
Yeah, thank you.
And that's something like, we taught a 5-day class out in Chicago, Dr. Beasley's did, and one of the things on the 4th day, we went out to Car Warehouse Supplies, and I had my first chance to actually install PPF on the hood of a car, and I thought I was pretty good at it. I have no desire to do it, but it was.
I would love to see you put PPF on. You'd be,
it was not that hard. I was pretty good at it.
Yeah, they have a flat panel or do they have a curved one? There's a difference.
Flat panel.
Yeah, there's a big difference.
Yeah. Now, I was horrible at window tinting.
And to be honest, I'm not the professional. I got a professional window tinter
It's the back window. You got to be a contortionist, you know, to get in
I'm
there.
too big to get back there.
Oh, it's just tough. It's something no one ever thinks about. When the side windows is no big deal. It's that back window on a passenger car. Okay, so if you had to give some advice, then say someone's got an established detailing business or they're starting it, but they wanted to add window tinting or PPF. What would your best advice be? Like take a class from an established brand, or you know, get some training, hire people that have already been trained. What would you tell them?
Of course, I would definitely start with a class. Okay. You know, you want if you never had your hands on film before, you definitely want to get your hands. You want to know what you need to do, what the quality job looks like, the right way to do things. If you have the time to be able to pick that up and do quality work and run with it, then that's great. If you're kind of slacking off on the time and don't have the time to perfect it, I would recommend looking to hire that perfectionist, that professional.
Someone that's their area of expertise.
Yes,
that's their passion.
Yes, because not everybody's blessed to be able to do everything in the shop. Yeah. And I'm not. Yeah, I don't do everything in the shop, but I could have my hands on everything.
Yeah, it's good to find people that are specialized, and especially if it's their passion, they're going to care about what they're doing. So yeah, I was at another shop over in Jensen Beach, and while I was there, a gentleman brought in a brand new Denali black 4x4 truck. I don't know if it's a Denali, big brand new Chevrolet truck, High Sierra, I think, and wanted a full wrap on the whole front clip. And I watched this young guy come over and do it, and I looked at it and I stood back and go, man, that looks good.
Yeah.
And then the owner came and looked and goes, oh no, there's dust everywhere under this. You got to do it over. I feel so bad for that kid.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, man.
And it's not fun to have to redo that.
Oh God! and if I was him, I says, "Oh, it's a work truck. I would have went with it."
Yeah.
But you got picky customers.
Oh yeah, a lot of my customers come in there nitpicking everything.
Okay, so let's talk about social media. Back in the old days, you put an ad in the newspaper or the yellow pages. Okay. Nowadays, we've got Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Those are probably the top 3. TikTok. How much time and energy do you put into social media as far as showing the work you've done or promoting, your businesses that you offer, the services you offer?
So I slacked off a lot on social media over the past year.
It's time consuming.
Yeah, it took up too much of my time. I was busy with work, and it's hard because I have my hands in everything at work. So when it came to social media, unfortunately, I didn't put all my time and effort into it. I wish I would have, because maybe I would have been at that next level from where I'm at now. But just recently, I hired a marketing girl. So she takes care of my social media, my Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff.
Frees you
Google.
up to manage the business, and
Yes.
she does that. Again, someone that specializes.
Oh yeah.
And that's been worthwhile.
Yeah, that's been great. She comes in, she takes videos, pictures, all that professional stuff instead of me just breaking out my phone. Well, the phones nowadays are good, but it wasn't working.
Oh no, it's kind of funny. Like if you're an older person and computer breaks, the joke is we need to find a teenager.
Yeah.
Right. But there's definitely a learning curve to do things like using CapCut,
Yes.
or just any of the software that's available for your phone to take your mundane video and then spice it up to make it eye-catching so people actually watch it.
Of course.
And then they take action from it.
Yeah, that editing, it takes time. You got to know what you're doing.
Okay, now I was up on your website, and it's really nice. It's laid out nice. If you're a customer and you're looking for a PPF for tinting or detailing or whatever you want, it's pretty easy to navigate, kind of figure out what you want, hone in, and then contact them and take care of that. But I'm just going to take a guess here that is not your first website.
It is my first website.
It is.
It is.
Has it gone through any kind of evolution?
It has not. I probably
Look
needs
at that. He's gleaming now.
It probably needs it though. But thank you. I appreciate it. But that is my first website.
Yeah. Then the reason I'm asking this is because, if you go up into the Facebook groups, I see the young guy, the new guy. And I don't want to say young, because I got a lot of people that take my classes that are retiring from their career job and they want to start detailing. They're old guys. But you see this question, do I need a website?
Yes.
How should I get a website? How much should I pay? Where should I go to have it built? And so the real key is for you is you got lucky and found someone that could actually do what they said they could do, build you a quality website.
Yep. No, I got lucky with that. And actually, it took me a while to get a website up. I was slacking. It's my first time owning a business, running it, starting it, growing it. So I just got my website 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Once again, I wish I would have done it earlier.
Yeah.
But you live and you learn.
Yeah. In context, that's not very long.
Yeah.
I always remember in the early days of the internet. So back in the 90s, the internet popped up around, 91, 92. I remember surfing the web when I worked at a place called Hewlett-Packard, and the only websites were up were either college kids or military. There wasn't no bestbuy.com, and none of that stuff existed. So, but in context, 3 years, that's fairly new, because the internet has been around for about 30 years now.
Yeah.
So I think I saw a statistic one time that said in 1996, AOL only had 500,000 customers, which is nothing, and it's the virgin era of the internet. Okay. Oh, this is a great question. So let me preface this with my experience to moving from Southern California to Florida. So the first time I detailed a car, I was out in a parking lot just like this. I started at 8:30 in the morning, and by 9 a.m. I was 100% drenched in sweat. I never experienced so much humidity in my life. So how do you deal and overcome with that? You guys stay hydrated, obviously.
Yeah.
Wear protective sunscreen or hats, neck colors.
Yeah, we definitely wear hats. We got our big, big hats covering the sun. Water is major. Definitely have to stay hydrated. It's tough. It's one of those things. Either you could do it or you can't do it. People don't understand. Oh, you're just washing cars. Well, it's hot out there. It's humid.
And that drains your energy.
Oh, it definitely does.
Yeah.
So in the summertime, I slow up. I could wash X amount of cars in the wintertime, and then come to summertime, maybe I'm taking 3 cars off that list.
Yeah.
Just because we slow down. There's nothing you could do about it. I slow down. My cars slow down, and I
Sure.
expect that. It's hot out there. We're dying.
It's hot. And for those that might be geographically challenged, a winter here in Florida is like 80 degrees. That's cool.
Yeah.
Humidity drops.
You know, with 80% humidity, and that's a cool day.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
So when he talks about it in the summer when it's hot, you know, you're 100-degree temperatures, 90% humidity.
And then the rain.
Oh,
the rain's
in the rain.
a factor, and then after it rains.
In Oregon, we call that liquid sunshine.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's another question. So you started out by yourself, but now you've got partners or employees?
Yes.
So
Yeah,
both which?
Yeah, employees.
Employees?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I know from, just from my being in the industry a long time, that most detailers start out as a sole proprietorship or a LCC, LLC, and then there's that step to go from you doing all the work to bringing on an employee, and it's a huge step. It's like a whole different side of the business that now you got to be involved with. So can you share anything about, you know, how you managed that?
It was hard, and it still is hard, to be honest.
Yeah.
Hiring employees and the right people to do the job is always going to be a challenging part of owning any business, especially in the detailing industry. So I actually, surprisingly, I hired one of my good friends I grew up with. I know that's a no-no. A lot of people don't do that, you know, but we were just in conversation back and forth, and we sat down and it's like, all right, well, this is what we're going to do. Business, friendship. Besides that, he's been great. Everything's been good.
He's watching this video now.
Oh, I'm sure he is. He's in there. He stopped working and he's watching this. So. But it's been great. You know, I got lucky with that part. But it's a big jump. It's a big jump to be able to hire somebody. So now it's another expense you're adding on, you know, onto your, you know, weekly, monthly,
workman's
yearly
comp,
basis. Workman's comp, just
taxes,
the liability, taxes, you know, the commercial insurance, all this stuff in advance. It's a huge, to do it the right way. Yeah. To do it the right way, legit way, it's a big step to hire just one person.
And then
let alone 3 or 4.
You got to keep them busy.
Oh yeah, of course. And then, you know, if we slow down, you know, we've had times where we slow down. Yeah. You know, and guess what? I don't send my guys home. Like it was my job. I hired them. Yep. I got to keep them with a check.
I know that's usually the biggest hurdle for most people is to go from that one-person shop to having employees. It's a huge hurdle. It takes help. Luckily, there are a lot of Facebook groups out there that if you need help, you can ask a question. And you know, you always have, you know, the bullies, the cyber. You always have the guys that just are jerks, but you always have the guys that are really nice.
Yes.
They'll help you. They don't expect anything in return. They'll just tell you how to do it, give you a link or a phone number, and here's what you need to do.
Yeah, I've had that growing through the business, you know?
Yeah. So I talk to a lot of people, like not even in the car industry, but when it comes time right now, it's like it's so hard to find good help. People with a strong work ethic, they'll show up on time, they'll continue to show up. Yeah. You know, it's just really challenging. And so when you do get a good person, you want to retain them.
Yes.
You know, because just the cost of losing them and retraining somebody and bringing them on costs a lot more than, say, just, you know, whatever it takes to keep them there. Yeah. Good raise, a bonus, a pat on the back.
Of course.
You know,
it costs a lot to hire somebody else, not just the initial, not your weekly check, the training.
Training.
You know, you invest a lot into that one person.
Okay, so let's see, and keep along this business thing, and then we're going to kind of open this. We're going to take a look at your van,
okay,
because it's really well laid out.
Yeah, thank you.
And but then we'll open up questions. But just real short answers. When it comes to the business side, what would you tell people about the bookkeeping, taxes, billing, invoices, payroll? Do you find other sources to manage this for you, basically?
I do. Yes, okay. I do. That's the best thing for me.
I kind of knew that ahead of time, but I wanted you to share that with everybody.
Yes, no, I do. I can't do it all, and there's no way I'm, you know, knowledgeable in all that sense. So if you find somebody good, I'll definitely, you know, stick with them and run with it.
So that's something you just want to outsource. You know, you can't wear every hat. You can't do it, and then focus on what you're good at.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, well, Deancy, you want to go mobile? Let's take a look at the van.
Okay, perfect. Let's do it. All right.
Okay, so first of all, this is what they call barn doors. It kind of opens up to the sides. And what's nice about this is, you know, if you're able to pull right up into a driveway, or if you're on the road, you know, everything's accessible either through the side door or the back door. So let's just go ahead and let's wait for Yancey so he can. This is the big moment.
There you go.
Dun dun dun. No confetti bombs.
What's that?
No confetti bombs when you open.
Oh yeah, no confetti bombs. Sorry.
So these doors, they'll open up all the way.
Okay.
Just like this. We got everything we need here. We got all the bottle holders, the brushes we need. We're running a Kranzel pressure washer. It's an electric pressure washer. Yeah. About 1,500 PSI. We don't need much more than that, you know, for the Beagles we're doing.
Unless you're trying to clean someone's four-wheel drive like Yancey's.
Yeah.
So they're not mud bogging.
So we got the generator on a slide out. That basically is a lot more easier to access.
Honda quality.
It's amazing.
It's quiet.
It's quiet.
Won't let you down.
Reliable. I had my old van. I had it in there for quite some time and never had any issues with it. So right in here we got our microfibers. So we keep them out of the elements, out of the sand, dirt, dust. So we're putting it on your vehicles. We're not scratching it.
This looks like New Age.
Yes, it is.
That's what we got over here.
Oh, yeah.
Really, if you need cabinetry, man, New Age.
New Age is amazing.
It is amazing.
I had them in my trailer. I have them in both vans.
It's a great way to go.
Yeah, no, they're great. But I guess it just keeps all the microfibers out of elements. And once again, I'm picky. Everything's color coordinated.
Yeah.
Each microfiber has a job.
So your black, what's your black for?
My black is
Tire dressings?
This is like the dirty jobs. Yeah.
Dirty jobs, yeah.
Dirty jobs, any kind of wheels, cleaning like that. This is more in the paint, So if we're doing a quick detail spray, something like that, we'll do that.
And what's nice about a light color is you always want to inspect the towel, and you can see it. Contaminants on the shoulder. Rub it over the paint.
Exactly. So if you had this black one for a paint, it wouldn't work out that way,
Yeah.
You can see everything on this. We got our window rags here. Window rags.
Tiles.
Yep. And then we got interior. We're using this for interior. Yep. And then we got some plush ones down here for some of those real soft, clear coats. And so
those are the worst, aren't they?
I hate them. They drive me nuts.
I don't.
I can never win.
In the last year, I've had to deal with two cars that had. The way I would describe it is paint. It is so soft. If you look at it the wrong way, it'll scratch.
Yes.
It's that soft.
Oh yeah.
And one of them is the '69 GTO sitting on the side of the building. And the owner came to me and says it needs to be polished again because he took it to a shop and the same thing has happened the third time. It's in the shop and then the shop technicians, whatever they're working on, the carburetor, the axles, the brakes, they do him a favor and wipe it down with probably one of those red shop rags.
Yeah, right.
And it's soft paint. It scratches the heck out of it.
Yeah, they're horrible. There's quite a few people.
So it helps to have like the really soft plush towels.
Yes.
For that. Okay, let's take a look around the other side then.
Yes, sir.
Let's just push in. We got a safety latch.
Yes, sir.
When I did a lot of my mobile detailing, for me, it was always just expected. I would have access to their electricity and their water. But usually it'd be stuff like, it's not a mundane daily driver.
Yeah.
So it's more high-end customer, high-end house.
Yeah, of course.
And of course,
Like the other side.
what's that?
We'll come around this way.
Let's do that. But I know that a lot of people, the expectation is to say you need to be fully
Yeah, you need to have everything. Yeah. So we got our water in here. So a little messy. We've been pretty busy. So we got a 100-gallon water tank back there. That's where we keep all our water, spot-free DI water. We also have a little DI set up here, just in case for some reason, if we had a busy day, we ran a little low at your house, hey, can we borrow some water from you? We'll do so. We'll filter it right here into our tank.
Sure.
Got our bucket rack. We got our wheel bucket, rinse bucket, and soap and water bucket.
Yeah. Got to be organized and have them labeled so you don't mix them up. Because once you get suds in there, you don't know which one's which without the label.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha.
So we got all that going on. Cooler, water, got to stay hydrated.
You also got the, what do they call this, a headache rack?
Yeah.
Or the suicide rack?
Oh, yeah, partition wall.
Partition wall, there's the right name. And all that's for is just like if you ever get that brake check, you don't want everything flying up and hitting the back of your head. Probably the most important part on the van, huh?
Oh, yeah, no, it's great. It's great. It keeps some of the chemical smells out, too. It keeps the AC in the cab, and it works amazing.
I like this. I don't see this in a lot of guys' rigs, but just having some of these to set these out just so people slow down. I mean, so many people when they're driving, they're on their phone.
Oh, they come flying by.
And then you get hit, just because they're not paying attention. The graphics are amazing, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Very eye-catching, and that's kind of what you want.
Yes, sir.
Well, Victor, what if we see if there's any questions? We could open this up to questions. We're about 20 minutes away from the end of this video.
All right. Okay, give me 1 second to get reorganized here. 1 second.
What? I didn't even look. This is a Ford. Ford, what's the model?
It's a Ford Transit Connect.
Ford Transit Connect. What's kind of nice about it is it's not so tall, so you don't have any clearance issues wherever you go.
Not at all. We go into parking garages, anything needed. So it gets everywhere we need to go. The only thing that kind of stopped making these now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't understand why. I feel like it was one of the biggest sellers. You see all the AC companies running with them, all the light construction companies.
Does Dodge got anything comparable?
Dodge has a ProMaster.
Yeah.
Dodge has a ProMaster.
My brother-in-law just bought a brand new Dodge truck, and he's always been a Chevy and a Ford guy, and he says he absolutely loves his Ram.
Nice.
This is the best truck he's ever had.
That's what I got. I've had about.
He finally got converted to the dark side.
Converted to the Mopar. Yeah.
Okay, Yancey here, voice from another. Sorry, I haven't been around, been busy, but glad to be back. Let's see here. Let's go through some of these. I'm going to switch it back to these guys. I'm going to flip you guys your questions up on there and your comments. And if you do have any questions about anything that was discussed here, put it in now, because we got about 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes to go through this stuff. So let's get on with it. We have Rick Smith at the very beginning. He says, ready to roll. Then Puerto Rico. First from Puerto Rico.
Humberto.
He came in. Also, he says hello to you and I. Thank you for that. Then, we have our first question here from David. Question, would it be incorrect to apply a wax or sealant on top of a liquid glaze? If done this way, what are the consequences, Mike? A little off topic, but we have some other on topic.
This is actually something that people will argue about. So years ago, this guy named Sal Zano invented a product called Zano Car Polish, which was a synthetic paint sealant. And he was teaching everybody that before you put his product on, you need to chemically strip the surface so the wax would actually make a strong bond. At that point, I wrote this article called Municipal Oils, because I checked with the chemist at McGuire's, and they said that technically the polish, we're talking about quality products, okay, not
air quotes included.
Yeah, not junk stuff. But he says if you're using a quality system, the polishing oils, these are called municipal oils, and they actually help the wax or the sealant to make a proper bond by sandwiching onto the paint surface. So there's, look, people can go either way on it. You can chemically strip the paint, use some mineral spirits or IPA to put the wax on. That process tends to dull the paint down a little bit, and you also risk scratching it or marring it because most of your panel wipes out there, including IPA and mineral spirits, are not good lubricants, okay? No. So if you got soft paint, you're back into trouble. So it just depends. If this is a daily driver stored outside, that's one thing. If it's a garage kept, car, then me, I've never chemically stripped ever in my life before putting on a quality sealant or wax. I've went right to it. Now with coatings, you want to follow the manufacturer's directions.
All right. And he comes back in. Darn it, Mike, I own an Accord, so I know exactly what that
I did too at one time, by the way. So it's a great car. Should have never sold it.
Yeah. Richard Books, finally online. Where you been? It is like 2024.
Well, we had some schedule conflicts on my part. I went out to Oregon for a week. That would have been the week that we do it the third Wednesday of every month. And then Yancey was out, four-wheeling out in the New Mexico desert. Was that where you were at?
Somebody has a really tough job that he had to play with outside.
Wiping the dust out of his eyes.
Still.
His camera lens.
Still. Have injury marks from it. Yeah. So David come back in here again. Cool. The Gong Show. Chuck Berringer was a hilarious game show host. I think that's when I probably made a comment early on the show.
Oh, did I confuse Chuck Barris with the Gong? I was talking about the custom car builder that built the Batmobile when I was talking about Chuck. That's Chuck Barris, right? Or is that the Gong Show host? I don't know.
Barris.
Barris Cars, yeah, Chuck Barris. He built the Munster Mobile. Yeah.
I don't think his first name was Chuck.
God, yeah, it could be.
But anyways.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving along.
I went to his funeral. It was interesting.
So you don't remember his name?
Well,
okay, that's filmed and people are watching this. All right, let's move on. Ed coming in here. Thanks for having an outstanding guest, Mike. Question for both of you. Where do you see the future of ceramic coatings going, and what would be the next down the line for advancements?
I'll let you take your first stab at that.
Everything's evolving, when it started and before you needed to put multiple coats of ceramic coating on a vehicle to get multiple years out of it. Now they're doing, one step coatings.
Yeah. The quality's come up.
The quality's come up. The technology, and it's going to continue to grow. To what extent? It's hard to say. They surprise you, and I definitely see it's going to grow for sure.
Yeah. The thing I'm always I don't know where it's going to go, but it's just, here's the thing. If you just bought a phone today, next week there'll probably be a better version, a newer model out, and the same thing with car care products. So the good thing is that because we were talking about before we went live, back in the old days. I made the joke that every car guy had the same three products in his garage. You had Turtle Wax, DuPont Rubbing Compound, and Armor All, and you could detail anything with those three products. And those products, back then at least, were horrible actually compared to what we got today. So now we're so blessed. We have so many quality tools, pads, towels, chemicals, and coatings, and new stuff just keeps getting introduced because you always got a new crop of chemists coming out of college with thinking beyond the borders of what the old guys are doing, and so it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I always see people that complain. They'll complain, there's so many choices. It's hard to choose. Okay, well, the opposite is too few choices. Now you don't got any choice. So
Right.
I'd rather have more choices than less choices. But the best thing to do is just stay in tune with the detailing industry that comes out, and maybe not always jump on that first new product that comes out. I know graphene came out a few years ago,
Yeah.
and I've talked to real chemists about this, and some are functional, some are not functional. The product might be in the bottle, but it doesn't actually do anything. The product's actually good on its own without it, but it's a marketing aspect. So I think there's real bona fide technology, and then there's always the, flash in the pan technology.
Yeah, of course.
Marketing.
All right, we have Kenny coming in here. Many who detail cars consider themselves business owner. Therefore, your title is business owner, not car wash guy.
He's just speaking in general.
Yeah.
Just,
Okay, for you both, this is actually a really good question. We have Rick Smith coming in here. For both, if you start to feel burnt out or feel like your business is stagnant, how do you overcome that? Very good question.
that is a good question. I've never had the problem myself. I've always loved what I do.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, well, I've just never had the problem. But, sometimes if you're down on your butt doing something on someone's car, you might get kind of burnt out on that. But the big picture is as I always like to say, taking a diamond in the rough and turning it into a glistening gemstone is just a reward in of itself. But that's a good question, Rick. And Rick is an alumni student in one of my big 3-day classes.
Great.
So, but have you ever got to that point where you're just kind of just worn out on cleaning other people's cars?
I can't say I've gotten burnt out on the actually detailing part of it because I love what I do with the detailing. Now, was I tired? Yes, of course, working long hours. But I can't say I've really gotten burnt out. Maybe if you're getting burnt out, is this something you really love? Are you like, I don't want to do this no more? Then maybe that's not something you love, But if you are starting to get burnt out, maybe sit back for a second and think. And, what's your goal? What's your end goal? Where are you going?
Well, take a day off and around here, go to the beach.
Yeah, right. I'm staying out of the sun.
Go to the lake. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I used to be always out in the pool, always had a boat, always in the sun. And last summer I had something cut out back here, and ever since then I just not getting in the sun. That wasn't any fun. So.
Okay, you have somebody ratting on you, Mike.
Uh-oh.
Yep,
In trouble now.
that happens. Steven, Mike told me he was going to start doing PPF when we were in Chicago.
I said I was thinking about it. Yeah, actually, here's what I was really thinking. I was thinking, I'm not too bad at this. I know my wife would be better.
Yeah.
Because she's meticulous and OCD. And I think she'd be good at it. But the problem is she has no interest in doing it. So it would fall back on me. And right now I stay busy enough just doing the things I do. So I'm good. But I thought that was, the word I would use is enlightening, and I love that class format. So everybody got hands-on. You actually got to go and do the thing. And then you could tell right away, is this something for me or I have no interest? And I liked the PPF installing. I thought it was interesting.
It was great when I went to class.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Who'd you go to? All right, I know who you went to the class with. Who did you take?
I went out to San Antonio, out to Expel.
Okay, Expel.
So I went to Expel. Great
Good
class.
brand, yeah.
Great class. All hands on. So
I've heard good things.
No chairs, no PowerPoint?
we had a test. We had a written test, but no, I'd say 90% of it was all hands on.
Do you see any chairs in here?
I see about 5 hide. No, I'm just-
Okay, where was that? All right, Raul does details. Shop and mobile detailing is the way to go for bigger jobs, and mobile to bring convenience to our clients. So having a mix works. I do it in my shop. I have the mix that works also. So
Yep.
Yep, it's
all
perfect.
And Raldo's, he custom builds vans out for companies. I'm correct. I think that's one of the things you do besides detailing cars is you build out vans. So I'll let him answer on that. But we met him in Chicago. Super nice guy.
I believe I follow him. I haven't
I follow
met him
him too.
personally, but I follow him.
Super nice guy. Super nice guy.
all right, here's another one. Kenny coming in here. PPF and tinting are not detailing. They are their own separate arts. And
Thank
each
you
of
for the
those are their own
clarification.
separate arts.
Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification.
Wouldn't have thought.
We're talking big picture, okay? It's part of the industry because people bring that service into a detail shop, even though there are guys that do nothing but PPF
Yes.
and guys that do nothing but, and then they need a detailer to help do the rest of the car. Or
Yeah, it's
prep
just
the
all
car.
services that if you have a brick and mortar that you add to your shop.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not even going to try your name. Thiesaline. We'll go with that. What software does he use to manage the business? Pocket Suite, Irritable, House Call Pro, etc. I don't remember.
So they're talking about a CRM. So that's what we were talking about before we went live. And I don't think right now you're not using anything.
He's using pen and paper.
I'm old school pen and paper. I use Square for my my invoicing and stuff like that. So I'm keeping it minimal as of now.
Yeah, and that when we were talking earlier, that's something I think you're probably going to look into just because it offers.
Yes, I definitely am.
That software has evolved so much. That's just some of the things it does is just the follow up. So after the job's done, it sends the customer a thank you email, gives them a link to go do a review, and you can automate a lot of this stuff because it's hard to do everything in one day.
Yes.
Sometimes you got to go home and go to bed.
I looked into it a few years ago, and it really wasn't worth it in my mind, at least. But it has grown a lot, and I'm definitely interested in trying to find something.
I researched it myself too, and I think the hardest thing is picking one because there's so many good ones out there, and then when you go up to say one of the Facebook groups like Detailing for Money or Detail Freaks, one of these great Facebook groups, you go up there and you ask for someone's input, and everybody lists everything that's available. Yeah. So okay, that helps.
All right, let's see here. Javier comes in here. Have you tried the waist fans for the hot Florida summer? I don't even know what it was.
What is it?
Waist fans?
Waist
fans.
Waist, as in waist?
I can't say I have.
Oh, like a detail belt?
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
Learn something new.
Just a hat.
Let's see here.
Have to Google
Do
that.
you have prices on your website?
I do not have prices on my. Well, actually, yes, I do. Sorry. I do have prices on my website. I have prices on my website for my basic services and my detailing. When it comes into PPF, window tinting, vinyl wraps, all that, it's basically a call for info because there's.
Get an estimate.
I mean, I've heard both sides of that story. Have it on there and not have it on there. So.
And I was back and forth on that myself personally. I wasn't going to put it on there, and then that's why I said no at first because I remember I wasn't going to do it, but it is on there.
And I looked through it. I think, like you said, for your basics, hey, for a car wash or whatever it is, the basic stuff. But as soon as you start getting into special, can you pan over to this? This is a 1976 Ford Gran Torino Starsky & Hutch car. It's all swirled out. It's totally contaminated. See, when you start bringing things in like this, really have to look at it. You have to talk to the owner, and you have to give a custom quote, a custom price. It can't just be, I do this for every car.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we got our basics on there, and it's a catch-22. I feel like either it's gonna turn away some customers because that's not what they're looking to pay, or it's gonna invite the customers that want to pay.
Tire kickers.
It does, but at the same time, I feel like sometimes I could sell it better than looking it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, here's actually a really good question. Nogala, mobile detailing. Do you use insurance, and which one is it, and how much do you pay?
Yes.
Good question.
Yes, of course.
Yes, and all the above.
So I believe my business insurance is through Allstate, or no, it's through Geico. My business insurance is through Geico. For my liability, all the coverage for my shop and everything is all through Geico.
Like your garage keepers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then I have my commercial end for the vans. My commercial end is Allstate. Geico is just through the roof, even though I had their policy, they didn't want to work. Not Geico. Allstate for the commercial, I believe it was like $280 a van a month, which is pricey, and it depends on who's driving it, adding them to the policy, driving records, so on and so forth.
Oh yeah.
So that's a big, it could be something way different. Depends on where you're at too. South Florida, wherever you're at.
Geographical location always has an effect.
Okay, next one. We got about 5 minutes left. I appreciate you 18-month plan. I wonder what he's planning for in 18 months. I appreciate you touched on social media. Do you have customers sign anything to let you showcase your work on their cars?
So
question.
Yes. Yeah. So I have customers that I speak to that a lot of them are okay with me posting anything. I don't have anything signed, but I flip it the other way around. I do have a bunch of big car collections I take care of where I have to sign something where I cannot post. I can't post their vehicles, can't speak about them as a person.
Can't share a picture.
Yep. No pictures, no nothing. So I do have those forms I have to sign where I can't post it.
Yeah. Non-disclosure is what that's called.
Yeah. So, not that they sign for me to post it. Usually it's kind of a verbal, hey, do you mind if I post your car? Yeah, go ahead. Anytime you want,
Yeah.
Okay, another question coming up. We'll do a little bit of rapid fire here. How far are you willing to drive for your mobile crew?
That's a good question too.
So mobile, we got a wide range. We're from Fort Pierce down to Boynton Beach.
Wow.
So it's a wide range because we're basically right in the middle. So we have a big collection up there, multiple collections down south, and our shop is right here in the middle. So we get, when they come to the shop.
From here to Fort Pierce, probably not too bad, but going through the extreme traffic through West Palm Beach can get kind of messy into Boynton Beach sometimes.
Yes, it can, especially depending on the time of the day.
Time of day, yeah.
Okay, real quick, has either of you two thought about doing airplane detailing?
Plane detailing?
Airplane, light aircraft.
I've done a couple jets, but it's not something that you
need
need a big crew. Yeah, you need a big crew. I only did that for those special customers that I take care of the collection. They're like, I need you to do this. So.
Yeah, I've done a couple light aircraft like Cessnas in my life, and it's really nothing I'm interested in.
Was that back before they had jets, Mike?
Wow, it's just.
Was the Wright brothers still around?
No, it was for clients that I did their cars, and they also got a plane. But it's just, I don't mean to sound negative or derogatory, but a lot of times that's a lot of just grunt work.
It is.
Yeah, it's just a lot of labor. It's intensive. There's no glory. I'd rather buff out this 72 Corvette any day of the week.
I'm going to call Joe Fernandez. And
He called Joe.
That's basically all that he does.
One time, a quick story. One time, Joe put an ad out. He was looking for some detailers because he got a contract to detail all these school buses somewhere in Southern California. It might have been Covina where he lives. And someone replied and says, "Hey, how about Mike Phillips? He lives in your area." And then he came back and said, "Mike Phillips isn't a detailer. He's a paint polisher." Says, "I'll take that."
Okay, here comes Leo's quality detailing. Two of the best. Is ceramic coating doable in an outdoor area? Indoor environment is definitely the way to go. Do you have any issues doing ceramic coatings out in the field?
I've never done one outside just because I don't agree on doing it outside. I don't know if that's technically the correct answer or not, but I have plenty of reasons on why I don't want to do it outside. Mostly contaminant, sand, everything blowing, cure time, sun.
Dust and pollen, airborne.
It's just, I don't see, that's not the proper way to do it.
Yeah. So here's what I tell people. If you're mobile and you're going to do a ceramic coating, you have to do it. You need to at least try to be under a canopy.
Set something up.
And there's a lot of different options for that. But the other thing is you want to just work a smaller area. So you apply, level, wipe off. Within a minute or so, it's probably going to be dust free. Dust ain't going to stick to it. You can move on to the next section. So can it be done? Yes. It's always going to be best in an enclosed shop.
Yes.
All right. Here's a good question. James, hello. What's some pointers on differentiating yourself from the competition?
Oh, good question.
Do quality work for one.
Yeah.
Show up when you say you're going to be there.
Two.
Yeah. No, that's it. Definitely do quality work. I always try and stand out from the rest in a sense, just with the wraps, maybe with our shirts, the way we present ourselves. We have spot-free DI water. We say that when we're selling it to a customer for their basic wash or detail. Just try and think of what somebody else is not doing,
Yeah.
Hey,
presenting you never get a second chance to make a great first impression.
Yes.
Okay, so I've seen guys with mobile detail vans and the van is dirty. And they get out and they're dressed sloppy. Yeah. Okay, can you do a good job with a dirty van? Yeah, of course you can. Yes. But perception is reality. When people say that, they go, how are you going to clean my car if you can't even keep your own car clean?
Exactly.
So just major on the simplest things first. And they'll probably go a long way to helping you.
Okay, we have Javier coming back in again. How did you save money to get a van and eventually to get a shop? When did you know you had to hire help? All good questions.
Wow.
Okay. So when I started, I didn't start full time. I was doing this part time. I was working for my father running the tree business. I would go after work, go wash cars, go detail cars. Those couple collections I would take care of. Every dollar I got from that, besides what I needed for chemicals, I would put away. I'd put it right to the side because I knew I was going to eventually want to do something mobile. That's when I started renting part of that shop out, and that's where I would do my corrections and coatings. Once again, after I cut my costs, I would just save all that money because it was part-time. That was extra money in a sense for me to build. Once I started seeing the repeat customers, the clientele, customers started asking for mobile services, then I was like, all right, well, now it's the time for me to run with it.
Yeah. What was the
There was another part of that question.
Oh, sorry, I was reading ahead.
Employees. When did you know you need to get to employees?
Yeah, when did you need to know that you had to hire help?
Oh, it was just, I couldn't take on anymore. When I started telling people, I was multiple days out,
Man's got no limits.
Yeah. I'm maxed out. You know, when you start booking out too far, it's like, all right, now you need to start hiring help because now they're going to go to somebody else. They need their car cleaned now.
Yeah.
You know,
and there's typically people that are in the detailing world have a strong work ethic. They're hard workers. You could even say some are workaholics. They're the opposite of a bum.
Yeah.
And the problem is you got to find balance, okay? Because it would do you no good at all to build this incredible enterprise up only to have your family fall apart.
Yeah.
You know, so you got to find that balance. And at some point, that's when the employees kick in because you can't be there 24/7.
Yep. You get maxed out.
Okay. I think that is all.
That was good.
I mean, there's just some talks about, saying hi and stuff like that, so I'm not going to bring all those up.
Yeah.
But Pretense, St. Clair.
Prentice. Yeah.
Prentice. He asked a question. I think this would be a good question. Differentiate IDA membership and certification.
Oh, thanks for bringing that up. So I'm a member of the IDA. The IDA is an association to bring professionalism to the image of the detailing industry. So we're not just people with a bucket and a wash mitt. And we have a very strong code of ethics. We also have very stringent certifications for marine, now motorcycle. We're branching into aircraft and RV and auto. And this is one way to separate yourself from the competition because you can show that it's important enough to you to actually join the association, be an outstanding member in the association, and to get these different certificates to demonstrate you've got the mental knowledge and also the physical skills and abilities to do the job right the first time. So yeah, I wish the IDA would have been around when I first got into the industry. I'll tell you one thing that I'm really impressed with is the caliber of people that join the IDA are always the kind of people they'll give you the shirt off your back, that they will help you to be successful. They're not out there to hide what they're doing to keep you down. And the other thing is they're just the overall caliber of people that join it. They're in there to help everybody in the industry, whether you're a member or not, by just bringing a better perception. We use the analogy of what's the badge you get if you're a mechanic? The
ACE certified.
Yeah, ACE certified. And I can remember times when I was looking for a shop, I wanted to see that arm badge. I want to see this guy knows what he's doing. I want to turn him over my car and have it come out worse. And so that's kind of the same analogy when you get the certifications and you put the time and effort into to proactively train yourself to be the top of your game. That's one of the ways you can separate yourself from the competition. Not saying the competition isn't up there with you. You're just documenting it, improving it.
Okay.
Thank you, Prentice.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm sure that they'll go back through the other questions that may not have gotten answered, and Mike will get on there. He always does go back and answer them and so forth. And if you like, please share this with everybody. So I just want to say thank you from me for tuning in. Now I'll let you guys say thank you.
Well, hey man, I think you did a great job. I'm glad you separated yourself.
And you knew what to do with your hand.
Yeah.
But, I just know
I'm
you're
not
busy.
the camera guys, though.
I know you're a busy guy. So thank you for bringing
you.
your van down. He washed his van so it looked good on the camera. So I said, no one's going to see the dirt. But, it's raining every day this week.
Oh, yeah. No, I washed it and I rode here in the rain, so it's dirty again. But no, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It was a great conversation, and hopefully that could help some, fellow detailers out there or people coming up.
The only thing I would add is this is Wednesday, September 11th. I have my last class for the year coming up, and it's almost sold out. I think there's 3 spaces. I haven't checked to see if they sold out today, but there's 3 spaces still left for this class. The first day is all paint correction. The first tool you start out with is a rotary polisher, working on something cool like the cars you're seeing here. The next day, actually 2 of the cars here, this Corvette and this blue car. Can you show that back there? That's a 49 Chevy Fleetline. I brought both these in to teach block sanding by hand, machine sanding, and back to the rotary and ceramic coatings. And then the third day is I'm bringing in a 24-foot Sea Hunt center console boat. It came from the factory Admiral Blue, very beautiful blue. It's turned white with oxidation. And for that, we're going to cover machine wet sanding, machine dry sanding, back to rotary polishers and ceramic coating. So I made a joke earlier that if you look around, there are no chairs. There's no chairs. There's no PowerPoint. We start early. We work all day long. There's a short lunch break. I'm not the worst guy in the world. I give you some food. But they're very fun classes, educational, and you learn a lot. But that's coming up September 20th, 21st, and 22nd. You still got time to get signed up for that. And then that's my last class for the year. We should have the schedule for our classes for 2025 up probably sometime after this upcoming 3-day class, so the first part of October. If you go to drbeasley.com and you've been wanting to get to one of these classes, then you can get all the information. And I always make my personal cell phone available. If you want to give me a call, you got any questions about detailing, products, coatings, we're taking a class, give me a call. That phone number is 760-515-0444. And besides that, thank you for watching. And if you're going to SEMA, make sure you come by the Flex booth. I'll be there Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, helping the Flex people out. And I think this will be my 22nd year in a row going to SEMA, except for the year that was closed for COVID. So
You got me beat by 3 years.
3 years, yeah. It's one of those things where before SEMA, you're excited to go. Then once you get there, you go, oh, yeah, SEMA.
Oh, yeah.
After the first,
you can't go to Vegas for a week. It's like, yeah, I go to Vegas to work my ass.
after the first day, all the excitement's done with. It's just the job.
Yeah.
So,
All right, that it?
That's it.
That's all your things?
I think so.
When's the next live?
well, we typically do these live broadcasts once a month now, the third Wednesday. So whatever that third Wednesday would be, I don't know, but third
Mark
Wednesday.
your calendars.
Yeah, and of course, the best way to find out is to join the Dr. Beasley's newsletter or subscribe, like our Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube channel, because we always put a promo video up and promo ads for it to let you know the topic that's coming up.
All right, with that, say bye.
See everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Great question.